attack in Nice is impacting election 2016 here at home. Donald Trump decided to delay making it official, his vice presidential announcement, but he has reportedly already called Indiana Governor Mike Pence and offered him a slot on his ticket. Pence emerged as a late favorite for the job, but Trump has called fellow finalists, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, quote, fantastic people. Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions' name had also been mentioned for the job. So let's talk about this vetting process. News4JAX political analyst Jennifer Carroll is here. It's interesting because by postponing this announcement, it makes you wonder whether or not Pence can do what he needs to do, because he's got to basically tell the state of Indiana, I'm not running for re-election. But that's a whole procedural thing we can get into in a second. This is an interesting choice. Trump is brash. Pence is a cautious former congressional leader who stays close to conservative orthodoxy.
Well, it's good for Donald Trump, because what Donald Trump needs to do is to extend the olive branch to the conservative and the never-Trumpers to let them see that he is willing to listen. Because remember, Pence did not endorse Donald Trump. He lukewarm endorsed Ted Cruz, and he also did not support TPP. He supported TPP, and he did not support the wall. So it's a difference with the Muslim ban is what it is, not the wall, but the Muslim ban that Donald Trump talked about. So here it is, Donald Trump saying, I'm extending the olive branch to someone that did not agree with me, but it is a conservative, and I'm willing to lend myself to have this person on the ticket with me. Mr. Pence doesn't come with, Governor Pence doesn't come with his challenges as well, because he supported it and signed into law the freedom, religious freedom
Which
bill.
a lot of people see as anti-LGBT.
Exactly. So that gives fodder to Donald Trump's opponents to say, here is the Republicans again, not supportive and being inclusive for the LGBT community. As a matter of fact, the platform committee yesterday, when they came out with some of their platform positions, the log cabin Republicans are now mad with them. So also too, Mike Pence did not even receive 50% in his last election as governor, 50% of the votes, and he was going to be in a tight re-election bid this time around. So therefore, Donald Trump has those issues to deal with in Indiana. Additionally, Mike Pence is a ban abortion person, so an evangelical. So again, it gives fodder to the opposition, the Democrats, to say, here are the right-wing folks, they're anti-women, anti-LGBT, and they're not for you.
He also doesn't have a lot of name recognition. I was talking to Tom Foreman of CNN yesterday. He says, look, the vice presidential pick really doesn't influence the ticket. But that said, Pence also has access to some donors who've been reticent to buy into the Trump campaign. So that may open the door to that.
Not only that, but the Midwestern states that may have some angst to support Donald Trump, it gives them some comfort to support someone like Governor Pence on the ticket as well. In ordinary elections, maybe the vice president may not hold a lot of water, but in this case with Donald Trump, where he has a lot of negatives that he has to fill those voids, Mr. Pence could be able to do that.
All right, so it's not official, but it's a foregone conclusion. How about in Hillary's Veep stakes? You got Tom Kaine, Sherrod Brown, you've got Tom Vilsack, you've got an admiral who has ties to Neptune Beach here. Any of those candidates stick out as a real possibility that can help her ticket?
I think the admiral that has ties to the Atlantic Beach area would be very good for her, because he brings about a lot of positives to fill again her void of negatives. He's trustworthy, he's well respected, he's intelligent, he knows about the international affairs, commanded NATO twice. So he brings a lot of pluses that can give an ease of comfort to the independents, because now with the Republicans and Democrats, they're lockstep in their own corners, and some Republicans say they'll vote for Hillary Clinton, who knows. But you have Mr. Johnson that's pulling a lot of the Republicans and conservatives over his way. So now the fight is for that independent group. If the Democrats can show that the Republicans have gone too far to the right and pull the independents over to them, then they win. If the Republicans can say we're more in line with the Republicans can say we're more in line with the independents and support their views and see the direction for this country, then the Republican wins.
Yeah, see, I used to think that it was going to be Elizabeth Warren, but I know that Hillary Clinton's kind of afraid what she's going to say in public, and that not knowing has kind of eliminated her and pushed her into the back of the crowd. Jennifer Carroll, always a pleasure. Thanks very much. It is unclear when Trump will make things official. When it does happen, watch it live here on Channel 4 and News4JAX.com. And we are just days away from two of the biggest weeks in election 2016. Kent Justice traveling to the GOP convention in Cleveland and to Philly for the Democratic conclave the following week. Live coverage from both. We'll see what the local Florida delegation